Hey, welcome back to Robot Cantina. I figured it was time for a quick channel update. So as you can see, the street legal go-kart's back together and back on the road. While we had the car apart, we had a chance to work out the Supercharger drive and the mounting system, along with some other upgrades. And we'll cover all those changes during the second season, don't worry. Now some of you may have noticed the tiny fuel tank is missing. Well, we really liked the tiny fuel tank and decided to keep it for now. We just moved it to a different spot. The new location eliminates most of the vibrations, and as a bonus, the tank stays cool. For any of the new viewers joining the channel today, you're looking at a fuel-injected 400cc cement mixer engine under the hood of our little go-kart. Yeah, it ain't much, but it's a lot faster than the 212cc engine we started with. You might want to go and check our earlier videos for a good laugh. Hey, let's take a sneak peek at some of the upgrades we'll be doing.
Volveremos a limpiar y desinfectar esta mesa.
So the supercharged engine probably won't last very long once we start making boost, and that's why we're going to reinforce the engine with this ARC billet connecting rod, along with some upgraded valves and springs. Let's take a look. The ARC rod that we'll be using is practically a piece of art. This billet rod looks fantastic from all angles. So as the rod reciprocates inside the engine, this scoop forces oil up into the rod to provide much needed lubrication for the rod bearings. Speaking of rod bearings, this rod uses replaceable bearing inserts like those you would find in automotive engines. Pretty cool. Now, full disclosure, ARC is not a sponsor. This channel likes to give its honest opinion on products without all the BS some sponsors require. The quality of the ARC rod speaks for itself, and we'll put it to test with our Supercharger. The valves we'll be using are made of stainless steel, which is probably overkill, but it was the only way we could get the uprated valve springs for the Hemi version of the 420cc Predator engine. Anyway, the valves look great and appear to be of decent quality. Now here are the valve springs. These are rated for 50 pounds or about 22 kilograms each. And again, these are overkill for our application. You see, the stock valve springs will start floating near the 5,000 RPM range, and when you put some boost behind the intake valve, well, chances are it won't seal properly in the RPM range we're going to be running at. So an upgrade was deemed necessary. Of course, this kit comes with keepers, buttons, and shims. Now I have no idea who manufactures this stuff, but the kit is available through OMB Warehouse for about $100. Finding a complete gasket kit for a 420 Hemi is nearly impossible. It seems you can only get a kit for a non-Hemi engine. Now, allegedly the difference between a Hemi and a non-Hemi is the valve cover gasket. I reckon we'll find out soon enough. This kit is for a Honda GX390, and once again I'm not sure it'll work, but it was only $7 on the Jungle website. Of course, the piston rings will need a proper gap, and that'll get done, no worries. Now, as most of you know, our little engine is equipped with a Speeduino NO2C programmable fuel injection system, and for the most part the system works really good. However, we're going to need to make some minor changes. This elbow and injector was sourced through eBay, and it was supposed to be new, but clearly it's used. It was hard to get, so I'm not complaining. Well, I am, but whatever. So it looks like we have to fabricate a new adapter to get this to fit the engine. No big deal. So this time around I want to set the engine up with a true sequential injection, and what I mean to say is we're going to be adding a cam position sensor to the engine so we can get the injector to fire in time with the intake valve. That should be an interesting modification. The throttle body we'll be using is a 30mm and it will mount in front of the Supercharger. What's cool about this throttle body is it has a conventional throttle position sensor. If you recall in episode 26, we discovered the throttle position sensor that we were using was some sort of non-contact Hall effect gizmo. The weirdo Hall effect throttle position sensor is probably better in theory, but I have some concerns about the quality. Anyway, the conventional resistor type sensor that we'll be upgrading to should be just fine. So mating the Supercharger to the little Hemi engine is somewhat of a head scratcher, but I think I have it covered. For the intake, we'll be using this water neck off a Kia, a Toyota, or possibly even an old Datsun. I can't remember what it's from. Anyway, to make it work, we'll have to fabricate a simple adapter to mate it to the Supercharger. Now for the boost side, we'll be using a water neck from a small block Chevy. Now, I had hoped to use one from a Type 1 Volkswagen engine, but they're out of stock worldwide. Oh well, the Chevy part should be just as good. Well, I wish I could keep going, but that's about it for today's update. Hope to see you folks real soon, and until next time.